Lately, I've been thinking about a question that I'm not sure I have a good answer to. What would you give up for peace of mind? And I don't mean taking a vacation. I don't mean getting a good night's sleep, turning your phone off for the weekend, or sitting somewhere quiet for a couple hours. I mean actual peace. Imagine somebody could reach inside your head and remove the anger, the grief, the fear, the memories that still have teeth, the constant anticipation that somebody else you love is eventually going to disappear. Imagine waking up tomorrow and, for the first time in years, your own mind wasn't something you had to fight. What would that be worth to you? I started thinking about this because recently I had someone reach out to me about Scientology. And before anybody gets nervous, this isn't going to be a Scientology expose. I'm not qualified to give you one. I didn't join. I didn't spend years inside the organization. I can only tell you what happened to me, what I was told, and more importantly, why part of me wanted so badly for it to be true. The woman I was talking to told me about Dianetics. She explained to me that by reading the book and following what it taught, I could learn to remove the negative emotions attached to experiences from my past. And I remember thinking, wait, you're telling me there's a way to do that? Because there are a few things I've been carrying for a long time. Anger is one of them, grief is another, and probably one of the biggest is my fear of losing people. Those three things have affected relationships, decisions, the way I respond to people, the way I protect myself, probably more parts of my life than I even realize. So when somebody tells me that there might be a way to finally stop carrying all of that, yeah, I listened. And I think there's a version of me that would love to say I immediately saw every red flag, laughed, and walked away. That would make me sound smart, strong, impossible to manipulate. That's not what happened. I did see red flags, a lot of them, and somehow, part of me kept trying to explain them away, because another part of me was desperate. Eventually, the conversation became much bigger than reading a book. There was discussion about me moving to Ohio, leaving where I live, going somewhere I didn't know anybody, potentially becoming involved in bringing other people into the organization. And there were the financial expectations, the donations. And I remember eventually pulling myself out of the fantasy long enough to ask a pretty simple question. What happens if I'm wrong? What happens if I move to another state because somebody promised me that they understood what was wrong inside my head, and then I get there and realize they didn't? Now I'm somewhere I don't know anybody. I'm financially involved. I'm surrounded by people who believe in the thing I'm starting to question. And even worse, maybe now I'm expected to convince somebody else to come looking for the same relief that brought me there. That thought bothered me, because I could deal with making a bad decision for myself. What scared me was the possibility of becoming part of somebody else making one, so I walked away. And afterward, I kept thinking about how close I had been to ignoring things that normally would have made me immediately say no. That bothered me, until I admitted something. I was vulnerable, really vulnerable. I was lonely, I was hurting, and I was tired of carrying things that I've been carrying for years. So somebody showed up offering an answer. Of course I wanted to hear it. That doesn't make me stupid. And honestly, it changed the way I look at people who get involved in organizations that outsiders immediately dismiss as obvious scams, cults, manipulative groups, or whatever label we decide to use. We love asking, how could anybody fall for that? I think sometimes we're asking the wrong question. Maybe the better question is, what was that person going through when somebody finally offered them exactly what they needed to hear? Because if somebody is happy, surrounded by people they trust, financially secure, mentally healthy and satisfied with their life, maybe an extreme promise doesn't sound very tempting. But approach somebody when they're isolated. Approach them after a loss. Approach them when they haven't felt like themselves in years. Approach them when they're exhausted from fighting thoughts they don't know how to control. Then tell them, I understand why you're hurting. There's an explanation. There's a path out. You don't have to feel this way anymore. That is a completely different conversation. I don't hold anything against somebody for wanting relief, because I wanted it too. And that brings me back to the question I started with. What would you give up for peace of mind? My immediate answer is that there are certain parts of myself I'd never sacrifice. My memories, the people I love, the things that make me who I am. Easy answer. Sounds good. I'm just not convinced it's completely honest. Because fighting your own mind every day for years is exhausting. There are mornings when the fight starts before your feet even touch the floor. You wake up and your mind is already pulling old files out of storage. Here's somebody you lost. Here's something you regret. Here's something somebody did to you. Here's somebody you love now. Would be terrible if you lost him too, wouldn't it? And there goes your morning. Nobody else can see it. You can still go to work. You can laugh. You can talk about sports or cars or whatever dumb thing happened over the weekend. You can look completely functional. Meanwhile, there's a war happening about 6 inches behind your face. Do that long enough, and peace stops sounding like a luxury. It starts sounding like survival. And I think that's something we need to understand when we talk about men who reach a point where they consider suicide. I'm not saying every man experiences it the same way, and I'm definitely not saying death is peace. I'm saying sometimes a man has been hurting for so long that his mind stops asking, how do I build a better life? And starts asking, how do I make this stop? Those are very different questions. Sometimes the person doesn't truly want their existence to end. They want the grief to end, the shame, the anger, the loneliness, the thoughts, the memories, the fear. They want one quiet day inside their own head. And when somebody has spent years believing that day is never coming, desperation can start offering some very dangerous solutions. That's why I'm a little more careful now when I hear somebody say, I would never do that. I would never let somebody manipulate me. I would never hurt myself. Maybe. I hope you never do. But I've learned that I don't know exactly who I become after enough pain. Neither do you. None of us really knows where our line is until life pushes us close enough to see it. My experience with Scientology didn't teach me that I'm gullible. At least I don't think that's what it taught me. It taught me that I'm tired. It showed me how badly a part of me wants somebody to tell me there is a way to put all of this down. And honestly, I still want that. I want to know what it feels like to love somebody without immediately imagining how much it's going to hurt if I lose them. I want memories of people I've lost to make me smile before they make my chest hurt. I want anger to be something I experience instead of something I occasionally feel like I become. I'd love for somebody to hand me a book and say, here, read this. Everything makes sense after this. That would be nice. I just don't think life works that way. And maybe peace isn't the absence of everything that hurts. Maybe that's the mistake I've been making. Maybe the goal isn't deleting grief, because grief exists because somebody mattered. Maybe the goal isn't eliminating fear. Maybe it's learning that loving somebody is still worth the possibility of losing them. Maybe anger doesn't need to disappear either. Maybe I just need to learn when it's protecting me and when it's controlling me. I don't know. That's the point of these journal entries. I'm still figuring this out. But I know this much. I'm glad I stopped long enough to question the offer that was put in front of me. Not because wanting relief was wrong. Wanting relief might have been the most understandable part of the entire thing. I'm glad because I realized how vulnerable I was before I handed somebody else responsibility for fixing me. And maybe that's something worth remembering. When somebody promises they can finally silence the war inside your head, don't just ask whether you want what they're offering. Ask what it's going to cost you. Ask who you become if you accept it. Ask what happens if they're wrong. And maybe most importantly, ask yourself why you needed the promise so badly in the first place. Because sometimes That answer tells you more than the promise ever could. So I'll leave this entry with the same question I've been asking myself. What would you give up for peace of mind? And if your honest answer scares you a little, maybe that doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. Maybe it means you've been fighting for too long.